So when we think about the technical setup for Zoom, there isn't a one size fits all, but hopefully there's some pointers in this video to help us to improve the experience for our students. So I want to start by talking about our camera setup. So what you want to do is be centered on the camera. Now this is actually an example of kind of a poor camera setup, where the camera is coming at me from the bottom, and so you can see my double chin. That's not what anybody needs right now. And so if I just switch and show you a better setup, here we go. We're coming in directly. There's maybe a fist's width between the top and my head, so that tells you I'm not too close to the camera, I'm not too far away. At the moment there is some light coming in from the side, and that's maybe obscuring my face. So when we want to be centered on the camera, not too much gap between our head, maybe coming up to just below our shoulders as well. That's a good place to center ourselves. And then we want to think about where the light's coming from. So we want the light to be coming directly onto our face. In my office I can't do that, and so I have a second light source. I have just a little ring light which I'll turn on. It's fairly inexpensive, and I actually kind of close this curtain, and then it focuses the light coming from the front. And this is just a little bit less distracting when you're starting a Zoom class to have this kind of setup. And so that's the first thing you want to think about, is how do you frame your camera when you're teaching, because that's what they're going to be looking at predominantly when you teach them. The next thing we want to think about is our desktop setup, so what it looks like on our desktop. So I'll show you how I set up Zoom, and hope that'll give you an indication. So I like to, when I have the Zoom box window, I like to reposition it so it's maybe a third of the screen. And then if I have a PowerPoint or something else, I'll have that beside me, so that I can see that and myself there. I also like to click on the Participants tab so I can see who's in my class, maybe if anyone raises the hand or anything. And then I also like to click this chat one. So here I've got the chat, and so if I want to write things in the chat, I can put it there, or if the students write anything in there, I can see it there, and I can see which students are here. When it comes to view, if I click on this view, it says the speaker view, and so whoever's speaking will be the person that's highlighted. I like to choose gallery personally, so if I choose gallery, that way my students will appear at the top, just above my head, whilst I'm teaching. When it comes to sharing my PowerPoint, if you notice here on this this is just a PowerPoint here, I like to choose this section, which is reader view, rather than slideshow. Slideshow would fill the whole screen and I would disappear, but if I click reader view, then the PowerPoint stays within that box there. Now I can reposition this box and resize it to whatever I want. I think that's good enough. Now if I resize it like this, then these black lines above and below the PowerPoint would also be on show, so I like to reposition it so that it's just the PowerPoint on show. So when I click share, and then I go to my slides, click there and click share, you can see there's a green box around which shows what my students are seeing. I can see me at the top here. Now I've gone small, and I would click this one which says show full window meeting. And so now when I'm sharing my PowerPoint, I can see my students above me, I can see the chat, and I can also see my PowerPoint. And so that's just some initial setup things that hopefully will help us to improve our seminary lessons.